Mia Carter walked into Jefferson High on a crisp September morning, her dark braids pulled back into a neat ponytail, wearing simple jeans and sneakers. She didn't stand out, not because she wasn't striking, but because she carried herself with such quiet confidence that it almost made her invisible. Her eyes scanned the crowded hallways as students laughed, shouted, and shoved past each other in their usual chaotic rhythm. To most of them, she was just another face in the crowd, a transfer student from Chicago whose name would probably be forgotten by lunchtime. Her first day began with introductions in homeroom. When called upon, Mia stood up briefly, offering a polite nod and saying, "Hi, I'm Mia." Her voice was soft but steady, lacking any hint of nervousness or arrogance. Some classmates barely glanced up from their phones. Others exchanged curious looks. One boy whispered loudly, "She doesn't look like much," earning a few snickers. By third period, rumors were already swirling about her. Was she failing all her classes back in Chicago? Did she get kicked out of her last school? Or maybe, just maybe, she was hiding something big under that calm exterior. But across the cafeteria later that day, three seniors, Trey, Marcus, and Brianna, were already whispering about her. Trey, the self-proclaimed king of Jefferson High, leaned back in his chair, smirking. "Look at her," he said, nodding toward Mia, who sat alone at a corner table reading a book. "She thinks she's too good for anyone here." Marcus snorted. "No, man, she's scared. Look at her clothes. Probably some scholarship kid try to play it cool." Brianna rolled her eyes. "Who cares? Let's mess with her. See if she cracks." And that's where it all began. By the end of the first week, Mia had become the unofficial target of Trey's crew. At first, it was small things, knocking her books out of her hands in the hallway, calling her names under their breath during class, or deliberately bumping into her in the cafeteria line. Each time, Mia simply bent down to pick up her belongings, brushed herself off, and kept walking without saying a word. Her silence only fueled their aggression. They started getting bolder, louder, meaner. One afternoon, after gym class, Trey cornered her near the lockers. "What's wrong, Chicago?" he sneered, leaning in close enough for his shadow to fall over her. Too chicken to fight back. Mia looked up at him, her expression unreadable. For a moment, there was nothing but silence between them. Then, without missing a beat, she stepped aside and walked away, leaving Trey standing there looking confused and more than a little irritated. "She's weird," Brianna muttered later when they regrouped. "No one's that calm unless they're hiding something." Little did they know, Mia wasn't hiding anything. She was waiting. What Trey, Marcus, and Brianna didn't realize was that Mia wasn't your average teenager. Back in Chicago, she'd been part of a community center run by former military veterans who taught kids discipline, resilience, and self-defense. By the age of 12, Mia had earned her black belt in karate. By 14, she was competing and winning in national tournaments. And by 16, she'd mastered not only martial arts, but also the art of patience. Mia knew bullies like Trey. She'd seen their type before, loud, arrogant, and desperate to prove themselves. They thrived on fear and chaos, feeding off the reactions of others. So instead of giving them what they wanted, Mia chose to let them wear themselves out. Every insult, every shove, every cruel joke. They were building a wall around her, isolating her from the rest of the school, while simultaneously tying themselves into knots of frustration. One Friday afternoon, the tension finally reached its breaking point. That IT happened in the parking lot after school. Trey and his friends had followed Mia outside, egging each other on until they finally decided to confront her. "You think you're better than us?" Trey spat, blocking her path to her car. "You think ignoring us makes you tough?" Mia stopped walking and turned to face him. For the first time since she'd arrived at Jefferson High, she smiled, a slow, deliberate curve of her lips that sent a chill down Trey's spine. "No," she said calmly. "I don't think I'm better than you. I know I am." Before Trey could react, Mia moved. Years of training kicked in as she sidestepped his clumsy attempt to grab her, twisting his arm behind his back in one fluid motion. Marcus lunged at her next, but she ducked under his punch and swept his legs out from under him with a swift kick. Brianna tried to intervene, but Mia caught her wrist mid-swing and pinned her against the side of a nearby car. Within seconds, it was over. Trey, Marcus, and Brianna lay sprawled on the asphalt, staring up at Mia in stunned silence. Not a single punch had been thrown. Not a single curse word had left her lips. She hadn't needed to. "I'm not here to make enemies," Mia said, brushing her hands off as if she'd just finished dusting shelf. "But I'm not here to be pushed around either. If you got a problem with me, fine. But this..." She gestured to the three of them. "This ends now." With that, she turned and walked away, leaving them gaping in disbelief. News of the showdown spread through Jefferson High faster than wildfire. By Monday morning, everyone knew what had happened in the parking lot. Some students cheered openly for Mia, impressed by her composure and skill. Others whispered nervously, wondering if they'd misjudged her or if they should steer clear entirely. As for Trey, Marcus, and Brianna, they kept their distance. Humiliated and humbled, they avoided Mia altogether, sticking to their usual cliques but noticeably quieter than before. Their reign of terror had ended, not because someone stood up to them with fists, but because someone had shown them exactly how weak they really were. Mia, meanwhile, continued going about her days as if nothing had changed. She still sat alone at lunch, still read her books in a library, still greeted teachers and classmates with polite nods and smiles. But something had changed. People noticed her now, not because she demanded attention, but because she commanded respect. Over time, Mia became a quiet leader among her peers. When freshmen struggled to find their way around campus, she offered directions without hesitation. When arguments broke out in the halls, she stepped in to mediate with calm authority. And when others faced bullying, she reminded them that strength wasn't about fighting back. It was about knowing when to walk away and when to stand firm. Mia never sought recognition for her actions. She didn't join clubs, run for student council, or give rousing speeches in the auditorium. Yet somehow, her presence alone inspired those around her to be better, to rise above pettiness and cruelty and strive for something greater. One day, a shy freshman named Lily approached Mia after school. "I heard what you did to Trey and his friends," she said timidly. "How did you stay so calm?" Mia smiled gently. "Fear gives bullies power," she explained. "When you refuse to show fear, they lose control. It's not always easy, but it's worth it." Lily nodded thoughtfully, and from that day forward, she seemed to carry herself with newfound confidence. Word spread quickly, and soon other students began seeking Mia's advice. Whether it was dealing with academic stress, navigating friendships, or standing up to bullies, Mia had a way of making people feel capable and strong. As senior year approached, Mia found herself reflecting on her journey at Jefferson High. From a moment she'd walked through those doors, she'd faced challenges, but she'd also grown in ways she hadn't expected. The bullies had tested her patience, yes, but they'd also given her an opportunity to demonstrate her values: resilience, kindness, and quiet courage. During graduation season, the principal asked Mia to deliver a speech at the commencement ceremony. Though hesitant at first, she agreed, knowing it might be her final chance to leave a lasting impact on her classmates. Standing on stage in her cap and gown, Mia took a deep breath and began. "This isn't just a story about mistaken identity," she said, echoing the words that had once described her own journey. "It's about how fast judgment can cost you everything, and how real leadership doesn't need to shout to shake the room." She went on to share her experiences, emphasizing the importance of empathy, perseverance, and self-belief. "Strength isn't measured by how hard you hit," she concluded. "It's measured by how well you rise after being knocked down. Be kind, be brave, and remember, true power comes from within." The audience erupted into applause, but Mia simply smiled and stepped back, letting the moment speak for itself. Because that's who she was, an unstoppable force, quietly changing the world one act of courage at a time.